Hello, welcome, I'm Hannah, and I'm so excited for today's video because I am doing a video that was created by another creator here on YouTube. I'm going to be doing the If I Could Only Keep 10 Eyeshadows video that Maggie's makeup medley did a couple months ago. Someone on Instagram actually DM'd me and asked me to do this, and I loved the idea. I've kept it in the back of my mind since then, so thank you for suggesting that. I love when you guys suggest me video ideas, and I love Maggie's channel. She does a lot of videos about her own collection, about thoughts of makeup, about duping palettes and things like that. So if you're into that type of slow makeup content, I definitely recommend her channel. But yeah, let's get into the purpose of today's video. The idea of the If I Could Only Keep 10 Eyeshadows video is an eyeshadow wardrobe. So it's different from like a favorites video, because I feel like a favorites video kind of assumes that you already have base eyeshadows to use and these are just like the special little add-ons. In this video, these are all of the shadows. If my whole collection consisted of only bare bones eyeshadows, which ones would I choose to be my little like everyday palette? She did 10 shadows. I'm gonna do 12. I hope that's okay, Maggie. I couldn't do 10, but maybe after we swatch them out, I could like say which two I think I could eliminate, but it was hard enough doing 12. I think I did it though. I could definitely tell looking at it that like, you know, there's some things that would hurt my heart to not have, but I think I could do a lot of looks with these shadows, and it's kind of even like my perfect travel palette. Like if I was going traveling for a long time and the best way to pack eyeshadows was to only bring 12, I would bring these. So I'm gonna just kind of bring them in one by one, swatch them out, show them to you, and then we'll consider the palette as a whole at the end. And I'm going to swatch them in the order I have them laid out in my palette. So my first little section is of inner corner shades. When I was considering these, inner corner shades are very important to me, but I've been kind of moving away from those like super white iridescent shadows. So none of these are white iridescents. They're also shadows that I could use all over my lid, and I feel like it would be shiny enough for me and it would look good. So they're pretty versatile for that reason. First we have Divina Pancake Bubbles, Divina Fairy Fire, and Divina Soleils. I didn't realize until right now that these are all Divina shadows in the first three. Pancake Bubbles, Fairy Fire, Soleils. I love Pancake Bubbles if I wanted something more neutral, and obviously these bring a really glowy, beautiful, colorful vibe in, but I feel like they're still versatile and I would wear both of those with a variety of eye colors. Next are two shades that I would use as transition colors. I have Everything from Luxie and Glaminatrix Fate. I pulled this one specifically because it does work as a transition, but I could also use it as a pink wash all over the lid. I could also use it on my lower lash line. Luxie Everything, Glaminatrix Fate. Next, I have a bunch of lid shades, and I kind of feel like that's the main attraction. Like most days, I would be happy just doing a transition color and a really beautiful shimmery all over the lid shade. So I kind of wanted to focus my attention on that, but I wanted to have enough of a variety that I feel like it would satisfy me a little bit, and I wanted to make sure the colors were far apart from each other enough that there's a place for all of them in this palette. So the first one I chose is Luxie Angel Wings. If you've been here, you know I absolutely adore this. This is probably my favorite like interesting neutral color, and I feel like it's pretty enough to wear for a night out to look special, but it's also subdued enough to wear on an everyday basis, wear to the office, wear somewhere where you don't necessarily want to be like making a statement through eyeshadow. It does everything. It goes both ways. The next one I chose is the Cosmos, and I feel kind of similarly about this as I do to Angel Wings, minus it being neutral. I feel like it's like a step up in color, but it's the same thing that it's not too bold in my opinion, probably just because it's not so deep. And it's just a really pretty interesting shade. Love that. The next shadow I chose is the only like true colorful matte in here. This is Cetacean from Menagerie, and I love this shade. It's like the perfect shade of blue. This is my favorite kind of blue. I also really like the formula. I've worn this all over my lid by itself sometimes. It would also work on my lower lash line. I could also use it in conjunction with other looks. A halo eye with the Cosmos and this, that would be interesting. And I just couldn't imagine making a palette and not including that one. Next is Carving from Cleona. This is such an interesting shadow. I feel like a lot of the shades I have in here are a little bit brighter, and I feel like this is where I get that kind of like grungy goodness from. It's so pretty. It's kind of like bluish and kind of like a browny burgundy-ishness to it. But I think this is a shade that can be sheared out on the lid for a more subdued look, or I could build it up. I could pair it with some darker shades and make it a really kind of like vampy sexy look. And next we have Nocturne Ash from Divina. This is one of my favorite shadows of all time also. I just love this tone of purpley pinkishness. And actually my first draft making this palette, when I was going through my shadows, I didn't notice this one at first. I had a different one in its place, and then when I remembered this, I was like, there's no way I would not include this if I could only keep a small amount of shadows. And I think it really brings that kind of like girliness that I love to this color selection. So the final two shadows are a little bit more boring in my opinion, but they're real like building blocks that I feel like if I was only keeping a small amount of shadows I would need to have in my collection. This first one is Sultry from Luxie. When I was looking for a shadow to fill this spot in my collection, I was looking for like a reddish medium brown, and that's what this one is. I feel like I could use this to deepen up a look without making it a deep look, if you know what I mean. I could add this into the crease with one of these shadows just for a little bit more depth, but it won't be a dramatic look. And then the final one I chose, this is Noche from ColourPop, but I don't know if it would be exactly this shade. I just would want a dark brown. I feel like I don't understand some of the dark mattes I have in my collection. Maybe I need to do a video about that where I kind of like try out my dark browns and see which ones actually come up pigmented enough to deepen up a look and which ones have different tones and stuff like that. But I know this one actually is deep enough, so that's why I chose this, but I wouldn't necessarily like recommend this to someone looking for a dark brown. It's just the dark brown that I have in my collection, and I wanted a dark brown in here to give me that versatility. And this is the kind of thing I would pair with Carving to make it deep and dark and sexy, and you know how a dark brown works. So yeah, these are the 12 shades that I would have in my collection. Divina Pancake Bubbles, Divina Fairy Fire, Divina Soleils, Luxie Everything, Glaminatrix Fate, Luxie Angel Wings, Terra Moons The Cosmos, Menagerie Cetacean, Cleona Carving, Divina Nocturne Ash, Luxie Sultry, and ColourPop Noche. I also have a bunch of these on my eyes today. I used Glaminatrix Fate in my crease. I also used some of it on my lower lash line. My lid shade is all Angel Wings from Luxie because I feel like I haven't used it in a while, and just look at it. It's so pretty. On my lower lash line, in addition to the Glaminatrix shade, I also used some Nocturne Ash from Divina, just to add a little bit something different to it to make it different from the transition. And my inner corner is Soleils from Divina. This shade I use so much. I probably use this shade on my inner corners like 3 times a week. I can't get enough of it. And I really like it. I feel like we're past Valentine's Day now, but isn't this such like a cute little fun, flirty Valentine's Day eye? I really like it. And here's how my palette looks together. I could really imagine this being my perfect everyday palette, pulling this out, deciding which one of these gorgeous lid shades is the one that I want to use today. I feel like it has enough variety to satisfy me, but it has enough building blocks to sculpt different looks. I do feel though that like the thing that would burden me is not having any more colorful mattes. I mean, I guess other than Cetacean, but I love using like a purpley matte on my lower lash line, and I don't have that. I also don't have any greens. There were some neutral shades that I was interested in, but they weren't different enough to include them, but I would like that. I would like a bronzy shade. But it is interesting to think because I feel like sometimes I fantasize about whittling down my single shadow collection, and this is beautiful, but I think I do like more variety than just this. But this is the best I could do, okay? I kind of want to do a part 2 to this video where I'm allowed an additional 12 shadows and I add on to this palette and see which I would choose when I have like a little bit more room to go. Oh, and then the only other thought is, I remember before I said maybe after these are swatched, I could decide which 2 I would take out to make 10. But I have no idea. Okay, I'm gonna try to think hard. Realistically, I think I would take out Fairy Fire just because I think it would get the least use out of these inner corner shades because it directly pairs with none of the lid shades, you know? Soleils I would definitely use with Nocturne Ash, and with the Cosmos, and with Angel Wings like I did today. Pancake Bubbles would go with any of them, but I feel like Fairy Fire would be a little bit more of a stretch, so for that reason I'd probably take it out. And maybe Glaminatrix Fate I would take out. I really like it, but I do have like the other 2 pinks. I wouldn't want to take it out, but I think those are the 2 that I would. If you told me, no, it absolutely has to be 10, but I wouldn't like it. But yeah, that's the video. That's the idea. I would be so curious what you guys would choose if you had to whittle down your collection. Do you agree with any of my choices? Do you think that I'm making a big mistake by leaving out Cleona Corrosion? Because I kind of feel like maybe I am. If you enjoy this, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. It really means a lot to me. Thank you to Maggie for creating this look. Again, I recommend her channel. Go check her out if you haven't. I'm gonna have her link down below, her video of this link down below. And thank you so much for being here. Bye.